A new Gallup poll finds more Americans feel worse off financially than at any point in the last 25 years, and this is the fifth year in a row that number has gone up. Two-thirds of babies under 2 are watching screens, with some logging up to 8 hours a day, according to a new study. And archaeologists at Pompeii just used AI to reconstruct the face of a man who died running from Mount Vesuvius nearly 2,000 years ago. Every day, the news cycle produces roughly 1,000 stories. About 6 of them are about politics. I went looking for the rest. This is News SideQuest. Gallup released new polling this morning, and the headline number is stark enough that I want to put it in full context before we move on. 55% of Americans surveyed between April 1st and 15th said their financial situation is getting worse. That's up from 53% last year and 47% in 2024. It is higher than at any point since 2001, higher than during the pandemic, higher than during the 2008 financial crisis, and the recession that followed. Let that sit for a second. More Americans feel worse off financially right now than they did when the economy was in free fall in 2008 and 2009, more than during COVID, more than at any measured point in a quarter century. This is the 5th consecutive year that more Americans say their finances are worsening rather than improving. The only comparable multi-year stretch in the survey's history was during the Great Recession. When asked to name their most important financial problem, 31% cited the cost of living, and this is the 5th consecutive year that affordability issues have led by a wide margin. Majorities worry about not having enough money for retirement at 62% and being unable to cover medical costs in the event of a serious accident or illness at 60%. 55% of Americans report that recent price increases have been a hardship on their ability to maintain their standard of living. This seems less than ideal. 5 consecutive years of declining financial confidence is a structural problem, not a bad quarter. It means the cost of living has been outpacing income growth year after year, compounding, and people feel it in these specific daily ways that surveys don't fully capture: the grocery bill, the insurance premium, the car repair, the thing you put off again. What I don't want to do is make this a political argument, because this show doesn't do that. The data predates the current administration by several years. Multiple administrations and Congresses have watched this number climb. This is a long-running problem, and it doesn't have a simple cause or a simple fix. What's the one financial decision you made in the last year that you actually feel good about? The thing that was smart or lucky or just worked out the way you hoped? Big or small?
Money, money, money!
The Times published new findings this week from a large UK cohort study tracking babies and toddlers, and the numbers should make every parent who has ever handed a baby an iPad to get 5 minutes of peace feel both understood and slightly alarmed. 2/3 of babies and toddlers under 2 are watching screens regularly. Some are logging up to 8 hours a day. The World Health Organization recommends 0 screen time for children under 2. 0. Yet a global review found that 2/3 of households exceed this limit. They'll be well prepared for their soulless office jobs. The research on early screen time and development is not a simple screen's bad story, though the overall picture leans that way for very young children. The issue isn't purely the screen itself, it's what the screen replaces. Children and teens have rapidly developing brains that need lots of different activities. There's a risk of digital eye strain with excessive screen use, and if a child is engaged in more than 2 or 3 hours of screen time per day, we may see an impact on mood and stress levels. The more important distinction the research keeps returning to is what kind of screen time and whether a parent is present. Content and supervision matter enormously. The American Psychological Association encourages parents to limit screen time to no more than 1 hour per day for children aged 2 to 5 and to co-view and interact with their children during this time rather than using the screen as a babysitter. A baby watching a parent video chat with grandma is a fundamentally different experience from a baby parked in front of YouTube Shorts alone. The honest conversation underneath this data is one that involves acknowledging something uncomfortable. For a lot of families, screens aren't a choice. They're a coping mechanism. Childcare is unaffordable. Parents are exhausted. The phone buys 10 minutes of silence. That's real, and it's not going away by telling parents they're doing it wrong. But the 8 hours a day number is worth naming, because that's not a quick break. That's a primary relationship. And for a brain that's forming language, emotional regulation, and attention patterns for the first time, what it's in relationship with matters. What do you wish you'd understood earlier about your own relationship with screens, phone, TV, whatever, and what would you actually tell a new parent right now, if you wanted to be honest, rather than just reassuring?
Oh, yeah, the word you're looking for is wow.
Archaeologists at the Pompeii Archaeological Park, working in collaboration with the University of Padua, used artificial intelligence this week to do something that has never been done before. They digitally reconstructed the face of a man who died in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79, nearly 2,000 years ago. The man's remains were discovered along with those of another person near the Porta Stabia necropolis, just outside the city walls, as they attempted to flee toward the coast. Researchers believe he died early in the disaster during a heavy fall of volcanic debris. He was carrying an oil lamp, a small iron ring, and 10 bronze coins, personal objects that offer a window into his final moments and into daily life in Pompeii before the catastrophe. The digital portrait was created using AI and photo editing techniques designed to translate skeletal and archaeological data into a realistic human likeness. The Pompeii Park director said, "The vastness of archaeological data is now such that only with the help of artificial intelligence will we be able to adequately protect and enhance them. If used well, AI can contribute to a renewal of classical studies." He probably looked very surprised and very ashy. Too soon? Pompeii is one of the most studied sites in human history. We know an enormous amount about it: the layout of the streets, what people ate, what they wrote on walls, how they worshipped, what their homes looked like. We have the plaster casts of people frozen in their final moments, preserved by ash. And yet for almost 2 millennia, they've been shapes, outlines, archaeological data. Now there's a face, a specific face. An older man, the reconstruction shows someone who picked up his lamp and his few coins and ran and didn't make it. The detail that gets me is the 10 bronze coins, not a fortune, just what he had. He grabbed what he had and he ran. That's the thing about Pompeii that the archaeology has always been able to do, and the face makes more immediate. These were people in the middle of ordinary lives when something completely outside their control ended everything in an afternoon. The city was frozen mid-sentence, the bread was still in the oven, the coins were still in someone's pocket. Has a historical event ever become real for you in a way it hadn't been before because of a single specific detail or image? The thing that made something you'd learned about in the abstract suddenly feel like it actually happened to actual people?
That belongs in a museum!
A woman in Oregon weaponized a swarm of bees against sheriff's deputies attempting to carry out an eviction, releasing the bees at the officers in their vehicles. Multiple deputies were stung. The woman was charged with multiple counts of assault. It probably would have been cheaper to just pay rent than to maintain a bee colony large enough to deploy as a defensive weapon. The economics of this decision do not hold up to scrutiny.
Bees! Bees! Bees in the car! Bees everywhere! God, they're huge! They're ripping my flesh off!
Save yourself! Don't be the hero!
They're huge and they sting crazy!
Save yourself!
Your firearms are useless against them!
A man in India brought his deceased sister's skeleton to a bank after officials insisted he produce the account holder in person to access her funds following her death. He had been trying to close her account through proper channels and kept being told he needed more documentation, so he brought her. It's hard to argue with his logic. The carpool lane question is one I'll leave open.
What do you mean the bank is out of money?
Insolvent? You only have enough cash for the next 3 customers! Hey, what's this?
Just a second here. No, I don't have your money here. It's in Bill's house and Fred's house.
Hey, what the hell you doing with my money in your house, Fred?
Florida wildlife researchers are attaching GPS collars to possums and releasing them into areas where Burmese pythons are known to hunt, tracking the pythons' movements by essentially watching which possums disappear. The possums are out here showing off their new bling before getting swallowed whole by a snake. This is a real and ongoing ecological crisis in the Everglades. The possums are doing their part.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
A woman in California is being harassed by a mockingbird that has taken up residence near her home and follows her, mimics sounds around her, and refuses to leave her alone no matter what she does. Wildlife experts say this behavior is not uncommon. Mockingbirds can develop persistent and antagonistic relationships with specific humans. It's like the birds, except instead of pecking your eyes out, it just makes your life mildly miserable on a daily basis. The bird, by all accounts, is winning. That's News Side Quest. 3 questions still out there. The financial decision from the last year you actually feel good about. What you'd honestly tell a new parent about screens. And the historical detail that made something feel real for the first time. Email me newssidequest@gmail.com or the pop into the Substack comments. See you tomorrow.